Hello everybody, it's your old friends at Monday Madness and welcome to the latest edition of the FUWBAWLL podcast. It's only myself and Neil joining you this week because again Burkbot is chasing elephants in our dreams, so that's a shame. But Neil, it's been a while since we've done podcasts because obviously we had the interval and we've been waiting 2 weeks of Premier League football to have stuff to talk about. So how's it gone for you?
Hey, it's actually gone pretty well. Arsenal haven't lost and we've picked up a clean sheet, so I'm fucking happy.
I'm fairly sure that's a sign of the end times, isn't it?
No, it's close.
It's close, is it? Okay. I haven't kept up the script, so
good.
Yeah. So as we start off this podcast, we're kind of, I suppose we do a rundown of the league table because, as I said, there's been 2 match days since we last joined you. Champions League, Nations League, which we actually don't care about because Ireland are really bad at it and we don't want to make ourselves sad again. So yeah, that noise that Neil is making is our opinions on that. So I suppose then Premier League wise, I'll give you a quick rundown of the table in case you're not up to speed or you're a historian listening to all these back. Why are you doing that, you fucking madman? So 6 match days in and the only team to have a 100% record is Liverpool. We'll be talking about that shortly. The top 4 then as it stands is Manchester City and Chelsea, both on 16 points, but City has a better goal difference. Watford do make it into the top 4. They've had a bit of a wobble this fortnight, but they're still up there. Spurs and Arsenal both on 12 points, both have very similar records. Again, we'll talk about one of those teams later on in the show. And then we have Manchester United and Bournemouth. United getting a bit better after their early season trouble. And obviously Bournemouth actually not doing that great in the last few weeks. So Leicester and Wolves then top of the top 10. They're both on 9 points. And then you have a clutch of teams then. There are not, you might be in a relegation scrap, but it's not, hasn't quite developed yet. So you have Palace 7 points, Everton on 6, Brighton, Southampton and Fulham on 5. Then you got Burnley and West Ham just outside the relegation zone on 4. And then you have 3 teams on 2 points. That's Newcastle, Cardiff and Huddersfield. And that's something that we'll be talking about later on in the show. So we do have a little bit to get through. So let's begin, Neil, with the team that is most definitely going to be at the top of the table next May. That's Liverpool. Now, rose-tinted glasses and all, obviously it's been a really decent, really good week for us, to be fair. Like a win against Spurs, win against PSG, win against Southampton, a really comfortable win at that. But I want to get like an objective view here, as it were. How do you feel we've done this season so far?
Fairly fucking well. I mean, obviously, as a gunner, anybody beating Spurs is always gonna, make me happy.
Yeah, of course.
But I think, no, to be honest with you, like the Spurs game in particular. Oh fuck! I'll go back to the start. Basically, I'm impressed with how you've been doing, and kind of worried as well because you've not really clicked up. Like you're not into 3rd or 4th gear yet.
Yes.
There's that whole winning ugly bullshit, but you really want to start getting into gear now because you're in and around Christmas. Those fixtures come thick and fast. And you really want to be able to run through it.
Yeah.
In particular, the Spurs game, there was a total lack of ruthlessness, and in fact, there was actually kind of a Klopp even argued against it, but there was a sense of greediness in the Spurs game, in particular by Salah, who was just fucking desperate to get in the score sheet.
Yeah.
Like, you just see the poor cunt's face. It was just so... I've never seen a player more obviously desperate to score a goal. He looked like his dick was going to drop off if he didn't slam one home.
Yes.
To the point where he passed up it, like, had he just squared the ball to Sané, like, Sané pretty much could have just tapped it in, but you could have done that thing where you get down on your hands and knees and head the ball in. He had enough time to fucking do that, but instead he tried to go for it and he missed.
Yeah, that was kind of my conclusions from it a little bit as well. And I suppose I can see your point that we're not quite like fully clicked in yet. And I think we were kind of saying that really at the last podcast as well, that the first 4 matches were kind of bankers really, just like a solid 12 points, doesn't matter which way you do it, just get them. And not necessarily burn out so fast. So obviously that was the first part of the season done and dusted. As I was saying last time, this is a really rough month for us because you've got pretty much like the two top. You've got the two biggest matches in the Champions League up, along with three massive Premier League matches as well: Spurs, Chelsea, City. That could define the season, and which is weird to say so early on. But like you saw how it was for Man City last season, they had won virtually by Christmas. So those matches do matter now at that stage. And then obviously then you have the fucking League Cup that's on tomorrow or today, depending on when you're listening on this. So yeah, it's a rough month. So I can understand if things are not quite 100%.
And also, it's thankfully Klopp has shown a desire to change tactics, which is something he didn't do in the previous season or two.
Yes, that's very true.
He was almost Wengerian in his solidity, in his solid stick to just attack, and then everything will be fine. In particular, this was against the Southampton game, which is quite weird to say, given that he's absolutely crushed the fuckers 3-0. But before the tactical switch to a three-man midfield at half time, which unfortunately led to Shaqiri, your best player on the pitch, being subbed off for a cup of tea. When you look at that, you look at how Bertrand in particular broke past your back line. That was quite worrying. And I know Klopp noticed that as well, because as soon as he packed out that midfield, fucking poor Southampton didn't have a goddamn sniff.
Yeah, that's true.
So yeah, like again, not shifted up, but massively improved in that even with a tactical shift,
there was
worked. Yeah.
Well, this is the thing. I was actually about to mention this kind of new formation with Southampton, and for me, I feel like now this could very much backfire on me personally, but I feel this is the way we could be playing in the future, and it sounds weird. It sounds weird saying that, but this is actually not too far away from where we were last season, formation wise, because if you remember when we were playing Coutinho and the aforementioned Fab Four. It's very similar in situation, because you did have like a midfield that was mostly like Milner, Henderson, because that's kind of all we had, and obviously Wijnaldum. So there was always that kind of like workhorsey sort of mentality to the midfield. But Coutinho was always kind of pivoting in that number 10 role. And again, and it was kind of funny seeing the game against Southampton, how intense it was in the first half. But what was the driving force was Shaqiri, and I 100% agree in saying that he was the best player on the pitch. If anything, I think he should have been given the man of the match, because he was that damn good. Whether he knew...
Yeah, pretty much single-handedly broke Mark Hughes' team down.
Yeah, 100%. And what I loved about that, the way he was constantly moving, was that he was forcing his other teammates to move. So whenever Shaqiri is on the right flank, Mane had to go central, or Mane had to go number 10, or Salah, he'd switch with him. So at least having that kind of like that mentalist on the pitch really does help, because fucking hell, they were practically unmarkable. Because I think Salah actually started like as centre forward, and Firmino was number 10.
Yeah, it was Salah was kind of almost deployed as a central striker, and then Shaqiri was kind of floating in behind them.
Yes, that's right.
Firmino was out left and Mane was out right.
And that was constantly moving during the game. Like they weren't at those positions towards the end.
Yeah, but the problem with that is that it left Arnold and Robertson just totally exposed, and fucking the Southampton took it, like accepted the invitation quite a number of times to just fucking go for it. Yeah. And to be honest with you, it was only Van Dijk that ensured that it was 3-0 and not 3 and another number.
Yeah, I felt like he had a really decent game himself now, because I think that's officially like either only the second or third match he's had paired up with Matip, and they actually weren't too bad together, to be fair. Like I said, they were only marking
at the time he was on the pitch.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, he wasn't exactly he was only marking Shane Long as such, so he didn't have much to worry about it in a way, because just someone would track him and the other one would stay where they were. So in a way, it wasn't the most taxing evening as such. But this sort of formation,
I guarantee you how Mark Hughes had wished he could have fielded Ings.
Yeah, actually, it would have been a lot more dangerous, in fairness. But then again, if he was being smart about it, he could have fielded him and Austin, or Long and Austin. So I guess he's only himself to blame there. But in a way, like, I do like how this does appear to be a plan B, because I'm still thinking as well. In terms of the two holding midfielders we had, or the way it was being played was essentially two holding midfielders and a front four that's constantly moving. So in my mind, I feel like that holding two is going to be in the future Fabinho and Keita, or at least Fabinho and Henderson, and Keita can be part of that quartet, because he's played in a kind of like Mane role already this season. So I get the feeling that this is a formation that's going to complement both Fabinho and Shaqiri, whereas something like, say, the 4-3-3, that's why we haven't seen Fabinho really, because it's not the same midfield he's used to. That's the kind of the reason why he hasn't been playing as such, is that he's just not used to the system yet, which it's not the greatest excuse in the world, but it's a reason why the likes of Robertson took so long to get in the team, and ever since he has been, you can't get rid of him. He's just constantly there now. you're not going to get rid of him. So, and goodness, why would you? So yeah, I feel like this is sort of, for me, I wouldn't be surprised if we play like this tomorrow, because like players like Shaqiri and potentially Fabinho will be playing. So this could be another opportunity to wheel out this mental 4-2-4 formation, because obviously it's had to work in the first time, and the drop off in performance was so clear as well. Like, it was literally maximum attack in the first half, with this 4 up front formation, and then back to the 4-3-3 and pass around, control the game. It was a perfect system. It was actually perfect home result, because everything was done in the first half and Southampton had no answer. So, but I obviously agree with your point that you are left exposed when you play that gung ho. Let's be fair.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I'm just simply thinking that this is not a tactic that you should really attempt to apply against anybody but more bite than Southampton.
Yeah, this is
not really have a lot of bite.
No, they don't. That's the thing. Like, this is for me like a flat track bully formation, if you know what I mean. Especially and it kind of proves the point as well. Like when you have players like Milner, who essentially beat Spurs by himself. Like the guy was mental in that game, and against PSG was the same. So I think he's been phenomenal for us this year. It kind of shows like he's just I think he's just abnormal. He's like genuinely unnatural, because I don't think anyone who gets older should be able to get fitter and run more. Like it goes against all football logic, But no, it has been a very good start for us, and like I said, the first week is done, and now we have to go through the second week, which is Chelsea twice. So we'll see how that goes. I don't know, like, again, I could be tempting fate here saying this, but like, I've watched Chelsea a few games of theirs this season, and it is very possessive. It's very kind of like, I don't want to say it's a slow pace. It's like it's a controlled pace. It's like they'll up the tempo when they feel it's time to up the tempo. But because it's possessive style of football, that does play into our hands a little bit. Like I said, the only problem is that when you did have like the problems we had again in front of goal against Spurs, if you fuck up like that against a team like Chelsea, you're going to probably what's the word I'm thinking of? You're basically going to be able to you're going to pay for that more than you would against, say, Spurs, because everything goes to Harry Kane, and if he's not firing, then that team isn't firing. So I think with Chelsea, there's more dangers there than just Harry Kane.
Absolutely, but then again, Chelsea could be got at, and West Ham proved.
That's true, yeah. But the West Ham didn't really. That was the funniest thing about the West Ham result. Like West Ham didn't really do much. They just kind of kept in their defensive shape, and Chelsea didn't really challenge them.
I watched that game, and they hit Chelsea quite a few times, and only for quite possibly miss of the fucking century.
Oh yeah, that's true. Yes, in the second half. Yeah.
I mean, seriously, like, I'd have been upset with like people I know if they'd have missed a goal like that. It was shocking. Yeah, no.
To be fair, I did say the same thing when I was watching it. It was that if Arnautovic was on the pitch, that was a goal.
Oh, that's just straight in.
Yeah, exactly. No. But that's a fair point. So yeah, we'll see how tomorrow goes, because obviously we're going to be like rotating the squad a bit. I imagine Chelsea will be doing the same, because they looked very, very tired towards the end of that West Ham match. So we'll see how it goes. But like I said, I'm seeing how we've done the first 3 games. If this is the way we're kind of able to chop and change, and there's no like there's no real drop off in performance yet. I think we'll see it towards like next week when we have Napoli City. That's going to be a rough one as well. So it'll be intriguing to see how that goes.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. No, that'll be a difficult one.
Yeah. But yeah, like I said, I have no complaints so far. So why am I giving out about them? Let's talk about then a team we were just almost about to criticise, and that's Tottenham. Now, since we last spoke about Spurs, I think last week, the last podcast, we were mentioning how they lost against Watford, and in that time, then they have lost 2 more games against ourselves and Inter Milan, and then a fairly shaky win against Brighton. So the main kind of like thread that's been talking about Spurs is fatigue, and I suppose like in a way like it's coming across quite evident to me in those games I mentioned, the 3 losses, that yeah, obviously this is a team that I suppose has suffered from the World Cup the most, but in particular Harry Kane I think is the real evident one, that he's just, there's no rest for him, and I like, so some people are kind of reasoning it like saying like, oh, he's the kind of player that can't rest, he wants to be selected all the time. You know, the manager has the ultimate decision there. You know, if the player is tired, give him a fucking rest, you know. And yeah, I get it, he's a talisman, captain, whatever it is, you feel obliged to play him. And in the same way that Liverpool feel obliged to play Salah and Palace are obliged to play Zaha, he's your star man. But surely at some point you have to give players like that a rest, because they have had no pre-season. You know, I just don't. And would you agree, Neil, that perhaps it's because it's like an admission of no squad depth for Spurs?
Well, absolutely. I mean, that squad is ridiculously thin, and it's, I don't know, like, the lack of any transfer, the lack of any type of transfer is definitely linked to the fact that they're paying off the stadium.
Yes.
You know, I mean, you know, you can fool most people with this, but you're not fooling an Arsenal fan with this.
Yes, you've been down that road before, yeah.
We've been down that road, and we wrote. They're following the map we wrote. You know, they may have ripped off the part with the Arsenal crest on it, but it's still our fucking map. You know,
that's a bit of banter there.
But the thing is, yeah, I mean, their loss to Liverpool was, you know, was quite bad.
I think that was dependent on work rate, you know, because especially in the midfield, we actively outworked Ali and Ericsson, you know, and like I said, that's why Milner kind of was as good as he was, because he ran fucking 13 kilometers. Spurs players didn't get anywhere near that, you know. So
I know, yeah, they were hustled. They were absolutely hustled.
Yeah. So, but like I said, it's funny you should mention the stadium actually, because obviously it's kind of dragging on and on now, and I think tomorrow they have to play Watford at like the MK Dons Stadium, and I think that if it doesn't get a move on, there's going to be other situations where they have to basically ask to play a game somewhere else. Like, that's very disruptive, you know. It's not been a smooth kind of transition to a new stadium, you know. It still looks like it's half under construction, really.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, there was a joke that ran around that I think they left. Who did they leave out of the Inter game? They left out Alderweireld and
it was Trippier, I think. Trippier, yeah.
They left Trippier and somebody else out. I think Alderweireld as well.
Yeah, there was 2 of them. Yeah.
Out of the Inter Milan game, and Pochettino said, "Oh, you left them out for technical reasons." And then the joke ran around as, what did Levy figure out that they could wire up plugs, and they've been sent to go work in the fucking stadium? Is that why? But it's definitely really fucking a lot of shit up. I mean, they could pretty much just write a lot of this season off, and that's not good. And there's a heavy kind of signposting that they're going to try and do what Arsenal did over the course of this stadium payoff, which is sign fucking nobody. They've locked down a lot of their star players, for a better term, down to longer term contracts. I don't think has Alderweireld, he's not signed one, has he?
I think he's the one exception, because he has like that's why they were kind of getting rid of him, really, because the players that they were trying to get rid of, like Rose, Alderweireld and Dembele, they're the players I think that are kind of coming towards the end of the contracts. And I think, like, in terms of resale value, there's no real reason for them to sign a 3-year contract and then try and sell them on. So I think, like, Spurs are trying to be cheeky and say, we'll sell Alderweireld for 50 million. And I don't think any teams are really looking at that, you know. I know United were linked, but, you know, being linked to United is fucking nothing nowadays. You know, I think I was linked to United there last week. So, yeah, in a way, like, anyone who isn't pinned down is likely leaving. You know, that's the way it's kind of, as you said, the kind of like a form of austerity is kind of taken over, like you guys had years ago with the Emirates move. You know, I kind of find it baffling why people, especially in the British press, were saying like, oh well, it's different. It's not the same as the Emirates move. You know, they don't have to save money. They already got the Champions League and TV money. It's just like, sure, but that's all still going into the stadium, you know. They don't have the same like commercial grunt that Arsenal did back then, where you were able to like commercially generate that money because you were the fucking Invincibles. You were marketable back then. Spurs are like the third or fourth best team in England, and they're still doing very well commercially, but not as good as like the champions of England were back a couple of years ago, you know.
Exactly, they're a team that could barely afford to pay like their players over 150 grand a week. Like,
yeah, exactly. That's a good point too. Like the actual expenditure has gone up hugely in that time. So if you're quoting saying like, well, they're earning more money, so yeah, but the wages have like doubled or trebled before then. If we're doing a comparison of the two, like, you know, nobody was really taking into account the money going out on a weekly basis.
Pretty much, yeah. And also the squad depth thing, I think, is going to haunt them for a bit because, you know, past the first string, they've not really. I mean, the Liverpool match in particular showed up just how poor of a replacement for Loris Vorm is.
Yes.
Not very good at all. Now, don't get me wrong, he's totally at fault for the first goal. Him and Eriksen need to share blame for the second goal. It was actually Eriksen's header back, which led to the corner.
Yes,
which
that's
was
right.
A fucking absurd header back. Dyer still is prone to the odd fucking absolute shocker.
I'm baffled by Eric Dyer because I've watched him in the World Cup, and in the Spurs games I've played in, he seems to do absolutely nothing on the pitch. It's baffling.
It's funny. He's kind of like he's a real binary player.
Yeah.
I often run into people. I've run into people who think, you know, he's good. Who think he's either really, really good or think that he's absolute horseshit.
Yeah, and like I said, I think it depends on where he's playing as well, because he's clearly a centre back. You know, he's clear, like, at least he was like back when he was in fucking Lisbon. You know, that's where he was played, and now he's in central midfield and obviously playing that kind of number 6 role. He's the worst number 6 I've ever seen because he doesn't actively do anything. Like, no, honestly, genuinely true, right? I'll compare him with Jordan Henderson, right? And again, great comparison. This was in the World Cup itself. Like, Henderson is a very smart passer because all he does, he plays very simple, straightforward passes side or up front. That's all he does. That's Henderson's job, and he's very, very good at it. He doesn't do anything risky. He doesn't do anything complicated. He just keeps the game going. And particularly in the PSG game, you saw how fucking valuable that was, because PSG did not have a player like that. They had Rabiot. They had all these great, you know, flair players that wanted the ball fed to them, but no like one player that's going like, fuck it, let's just keep the game moving for ourselves. Henderson had that for us, and it was because of that sort of like simple, uncomplicated play that we were able to do so well against him. But for Spurs, he doesn't do that. All he does is get in the fucking way. That's not a number 6 anymore. That's just a pain in the hole. That's just a waste of a player. And you could see that in the World Cup. Henderson is on for 60 minutes, plays like, again, a solid game, nothing spectacular, goes off, Dyer's on, and the team goes to pieces. Like, the actual football goes away. And I don't see what Spurs sees in him. I don't see what fucking England sees in him. You know, it's the biggest anomaly in football I've seen for a long, long time. Like, I don't get it.
That's it.
I really don't get it.
You know, and it's funny, like himself, Trippier and Rose as well. I'm like, Rose and Trippier in particular are far too offensively minded, and they I kind of think they depend on Dyer to keep that defense locked down.
Yeah, well, that was their first mistake.
Exactly. You know, I mean, in all fairness, they were spared a thrashing solely because Salah and Mane we're just so goddamn selfish. And
Yeah.
Mane displayed quite possibly the only con on his ledger in that he's got some really shit decision making when it counts.
Yeah, he was guilty of that a lot last season as well.
He was really poor when like he's got literally. I know we don't want to go back to talking about Liverpool because we already covered that, but in particular, Mane really has. I think he's one of the few players that literally has everything in his fucking locker, and then it's just gone right in that split second. Fuck, you can almost put money on him to make the wrong decision.
Yeah.
If you just switched him and Salah's heads for that match, it would have been a fucking pasting.
Especially in the second half, because like I remember the first half of that match and going like, well, Spurs are holding their own quite well. We're kind of working them quite a bit, and then I think we scored the first goal in the first half. It was the Wijnaldum header, and I think early in the second half, the Firmino scored his then. But Christ, like we showed a lot of like mercy to them in the second half in a way, because they looked shot and we were just passing all around them.
They didn't defeat after 60 minutes.
Yeah, and that's the kind of thing. Like, and I felt like it was exactly the same against Inter, because they had taken the lead, and again they were playing quite well up to that point. You know, they held in the first half. They didn't really do much as such because they just wanted to keep the crowd at bay and you know, kind of like you just get their foot in themselves. Scored their own goal, and then Inter got back at them really, really late, and Spurs just didn't have an extra gear. And the gas thing is, they didn't really have anyone on the bench to give them an extra gear when they already were playing Mora, and Son wasn't. I don't think he was even selected. I don't think, or was he? Did he even play? But it's the same thing. Like, there's just this absurd like reliance on players who are very, very much knackered, and it's kind of admitting that the likes of Llorente are not at the level of Kane. So why play Llorente? You know, well,
Llorente is such garbage.
Yeah.
Like, why the fuck did they even buy him?
It was purely for a backup. That's all it was. And the upsetting thing was how good Llorente was at Swansea. You know, he scored like a multitude of goals for them, kept them up one year. You know, and I suppose like I think it's a drop off of being like, I kind of say the same thing in Vorm as well. Like, when you are a backup goalkeeper or a backup striker, and you know you are, I think your performance does drop, because your kind of value to the team is very much obvious. Like, you're not going to upset Lloris, and you're not going to upset Kane from his starting position, so why bother? And that's there's a kind of inertia there, if that's the right word to use.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, but it's weird. Like, I've actually looked back over the last two matches. Was Llorente even on the bench? He wasn't on the bench even.
I don't think so, because I think Son was selected ahead of him.
Fuck yeah, he's not even on the. I think he's not even benching him. I'm like, what the fuck, like?
Yeah, baffling. That's what makes the Kane situation so much worse. Is that even if your backup striker isn't on the goddamn bench, you've no choice but to play Kane, because would you play Son in his place? Not really, because Son is a kind of like a more of like a wide player as such and drifts in. Same with Mora, exactly the same type of player. So now you've got two different players. You have two essentially inside forwards, and still you have your number 9 who has no backup. So it's fucking annoying, because there is better solutions to this.
Exactly. Although one of the solutions presented itself because Vorm then went and injured himself, and their backup is now Gazaniga.
Yes, who
to kind of wrap all this up, had a really fucking good game against Brighton. Yeah,
he's actually not bad, and he's the third choice.
He actually sealed a bit of fucking confidence.
Yeah.
So I suppose that's the bare minimum for a fucking keeper.
Yeah.
He played a bit in the pre-season friendlies, so I haven't seen any of them. But you know, with Vorm out, Loris fucking nowhere. So you know, he's got a good run of games now to get himself into the team. And he's just a decent keeper. He's pretty much solidly what they want. If only they had, you know, a replacement like him for the other side of the fucking pitch.
Yeah.
I'd say they'd be quite happy.
So going back to what we were talking about in terms of the stadium payoff and this sort of potential austerity, is this the team that Spurs are kind of stuck with for the next few years?
To be honest with you, if when we do this podcast again in say about like a year or 2 years time, and we're talking about Spurs again, don't be surprised to see that team sheet not all that different.
Yeah, I actually would probably agree with you there because I think they have no reason to. They have no reason to buy and they have no reason to sell. Like they're just kind of like this is
They do have a reason to buy. They just can't.
Yeah, I see it. I see your point.
That's my take on it.
Yeah.
They have to. I mean, there's no way. There's no. That squad is not so good it cannot be improved upon. Fuck that.
Yeah, I mean, I probably agree with you there. I mean, again, maybe this is me being like overly cynical and all that, but the players like Ali, I felt have dropped down quite a bit. Like they've just kind of got very. Again, it's kind of the same thing with Arsenal, really. Just like certain players just get comfortable, and the performance isn't there then because they've no kind of challenge really. I felt like
it's like the old Arsenal. Old Arsenal.
Exactly, yeah. But yeah, like it is exactly that. Like it's when you see the drop off in performances like from Dyer and Ali, and especially when they're outside of the Spurs team and they're in England colours, you do see it. You do see like Liverpool players who are playing it's still in like a Liverpool mentality, and United players out to fucking prove something, like Rashford, like Lingard. You see the performance there, but Spurs, they're just kind of like they're there and they do things. Trippier is the one exception. I think he's brilliant, but otherwise there's just that kind of inertia, like day in day out grind, like repetition.
Yeah, and I think we might not see a lot of it because I think they improved quite. They looked somewhat improved from the Brighton game in the Brighton game from previous games. Although that could be just because they were playing Brighton.
Yeah, maybe.
It may be because they didn't look as completely shagged out as they had in previous matches and so on and so forth. But if it doesn't hit them this season, I see a fucking implosion a season or two from now, and I'm fucking rubbing my hands with glee.
As I said, you've been down that road before. You know what it's like.
No, absolutely, and I know that people were fucking waiting for us to completely implode, and I don't think we imploded, but we definitely ticked over and didn't hit the heights that we could have.
Yeah, that's a.
I think this team will collapse though.
Interesting. Well, like I said, I don't think it's going to be like this year at all. I don't think because the quality is still there, but and like I said, there might be. There might be they might struggle to keep up with the pace that's on now because Jesus, you got Liverpool that's setting great pace, and same with Chelsea and Man City. They're constantly winning matches. If Spurs can't win like crucial matches like the one against Liverpool, it's hard to see them staying at that level because let's face it. Like teams like Arsenal, United, they are rapidly improving again, so they need to keep up in a way, and keep staying at the solid like 7 out of 10 levels might not be enough anymore, and that's absurd saying that, because they've been solid top 4 teams the last 2 seasons, but this year it's just not enough. It's baffling, really.
That's the league's evolving and the team just starting to pull away.
Yeah, yeah. Again,
just think what shit show that is Manchester United.
Yeah, exactly. Good point. I mean, like I say, even United haven't necessarily had a bad fortnight as such. They haven't lost, which is a start, But they're still a shit show, but still in the rumble. Like they're not too far away. I think they're 7th. I think I said at the start of the show. So yeah, they haven't been too bad. But as I said, at least they're steadying a bit. There's still a shambles somewhere along the lines, but at least they're getting results.
You say Man U haven't lost, or?
Well, they haven't lost the last fortnight. They won the last. They drew against Wolves.
The last loss was actually a 3-0 hammer by Spurs.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and that was the last time. And then they've kind of. I think they beat Watford. That's what it was. I couldn't remember. So they beat Watford and then drew at Wolves. That's been there, and of course the Champions League won as well against Young Boys. So it's been a decent fortnight for them.
Kind of.
Yeah.
Results wise, it's been a decent. It's been a decent fortnight for them.
Yeah.
But fuck me, that team looks the fucking drama show there is hilarious. I'm loving it.
Yeah, like I said, for pure entertainment purposes, United have been the funnest, most fun team to keep an eye on because there's always some sort of like stuff that, we said this the last podcast as well. There is just some sort of calamity happening or is happening along the way, and it doesn't help as well. Where this is the aforementioned 3rd season. you're expecting shit to happen anyway. So when the prophecy is fulfilled, it doesn't exactly help things. But sure,
Absolutely. Well, like when you appoint the most expensive player as your captain, then he calls on the team to attack, and then you go out on record and say that he will never captain again if you're unhappy with his performance.
Sometimes it is like a Donald Trump effect with Mourinho. Sometimes you just get numb because he says such ridiculous or does such ridiculous things. They all kind of like balance each other out. Like it's just there's just such a high level of absurdity. They all drown out into the one fucking weird hum. Like he's like he must be written by a writer somewhere. Like somebody must be in charge of that character some way down the lines. Like that's
Alan Partridge in that way.
Absolutely, yeah. Like I'm definitely convinced he's played by Steve Coogan somewhere along the line, or at least written by him. Like it can't be human. It really, really can't. Anyway, so we were talking about people who were toiling away in the league and teams who are kind of having wobbles and all that. But now we're going to talk about teams who are most definitely having wobbles. There are 3 teams at the moment in the league that have not won a game yet. They've all drawn 2 games. And they are hemorrhaging goals left, right and centre. The 3 teams we're talking about, of course, are Newcastle United, Cardiff and Huddersfield. So, the kind of, I suppose, like a tradition from the last iteration of this podcast was asking Neil, are certain teams fucked? So, I suppose we'll revive this segment for one night only. Neil, is this team fucked? So,
Fuck yeah.
Alright. Newcastle United. Neil, are they fucked?
Yes. But I think they'll stay up.
Okay, so they're semi-fucked.
Semi-fucked.
Semi-fucked. Well, we'll get back to Newcastle then. Cardiff City, are they fucked?
Oh, they're fucked.
They're fucked. Yeah, I agree. Huddersfield Town, are they fucked?
Oh, they're hell fucked.
Oh wow! So we already have two completely fucked at this early part of the season.
Absolutely.
So I'm actually just looking at their table at the minute, and Cardiff and Huddersfield. It's not been a good week. It's not been a good fortnight for them, to be fair, to say the least. Cardiff, for example, have lost 4-1 to Chelsea and 5-0 to Man City, whereas Huddersfield lost against Crystal Palace and then lost 3-1 to Leicester. But of course, their like awful goal results came previously in the season, a la the 6-1 against Man City. So obviously this is like both these teams have faced Man City, so that might exaggerate the numbers a little bit, but it's early warning signs already if you're struggling to get results. I know Cardiff have had a rough start themselves, but Huddersfield in particular I felt have been very lackluster, if that's the right word to use.
Well, no, they're struggling. They're really, really struggling.
Yeah.
I think there was a kind of like they kind of glimpsed a bit of a victory against Leicester when they went ahead in the 5th minute.
Yeah.
But then they just got absolutely pasted by Leicester. But I think, by the way, desperately needed that win as well.
Yes.
They were on their own string of 2 losses as well.
Well, the 4-0 against Bournemouth really would do that to you, all right.
Yeah.
Bournemouth, by the way, can we just give a bipolar award to Bournemouth this fortnight? 4-0 win against Leicester, 4-0 loss against Burnley. I mean, you can't say fairer than that for inconsistent, can you?
Yeah. Yeah. The 1 step forward, 2 steps back.
Indeed.
Award goes to Bournemouth.
Oh, brilliant! But yeah,
we'll call it the static.
Yes.
Award.
Yeah, that's that. I like that one. But yeah, like Huddersfield, I was worried about them this season anyway because obviously I think it was a hell of an achievement just staying in the league anyway. But now, when you do have teams like Fulham and Wolves who have just thrown money at the situation, and unfortunately it is kind of working for them at the minute, it's hard to see Huddersfield kind of keeping up. And I feel the same problem for Cardiff. Like the Cardiff just have a distinct lack of quality, And like I said, it's unfair them kind of saying that at this early stage because they have just faced Arsenal, Chelsea and Man City in 3 weeks, or 3 games at least back to back. But warning signs are there because those games were home games, and when you see Wolves being able to eke out results against the two Manchester clubs, they have a system, they have a way of getting results there, whether it be because they have better squads or better tactics, whatever it is. Cardiff don't really have that. maybe it's just me, but I expect like a Neil Warnock team to dig in, be very defensive, and catch players at the break, catch teams at the break or whatever. Just foul them or do something physical to them. But it hasn't really happened. You know, they've been pasted twice in a fortnight.
Yeah, well, the Warnock said that he doesn't want to park the bus, and you know, he went at us anyway in the match against Arsenal. But I don't know. I think he seems to fucking he needs to kind of realize what squad he has.
Yeah,
And realizes that he needs to be racking up points now because it's only going to get worse for them. Like their season's not going to improve.
no, that's the problem. Especially when you have a goal difference of -11 already. You're not exactly gonna like catch those 11 goals in the next few weeks. You know, see, it's already damage limitation at that point.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't understand where the seeming mentality that you know, oh, we'll just wait until January and then we'll fucking, you know, we'll be good at everything will be good again, like the fucking land of milk and honey. It's like, no, man.
No.
It's not gonna work.
Well, that's the thing. Like Cardiff have kind of done. Like, I remember the last time Cardiff were up here, they did just buy too many players, and there are players that just did not work. They were complete like wasters, you know. And I suppose like they've done the exact opposite now. They've kind of trusted the players that got them there. But the difference is those players are like championship level, like, you know, journeymen. You know, they're not like, you know, it's a difference between having like a really like red hot star player, like a talent that's going to get you to the league, or having someone like David Nugent who is brilliant, or like Cameron Jerome as well, brilliant at the championship level, but good God, never played him in a Premier League team because they just can't. It's a different standard. They just can't hit the same heights. So in what I'm trying to say is that Cardiff are kind of, you can tell Cardiff are a championship level side because they haven't really done anything to improve at any point.
Yeah, and I think this kind of the same goes with Huddersfield.
Yeah, I think so too.
You know, that's a championship level team.
Yeah, definitely. Now here's a question: are Newcastle a championship level team? You see, I would say it's a championship level squad, but very much a world class manager. And yeah, I mean, you know, as former Liverpool manager, I'm going to be biased.
I was about to say that as well. I was like, the manager certainly isn't.
No, and that's flattering him a lot as well.
Oh Jesus, yeah. No, he's just fantastic, and he's just he's getting fucking just strung up.
Yeah.
But by that board, I don't understand what the thinking there is.
It's so baffling, isn't it? Like when you have they surely must register with them at some point that you have a manager here who has won the Champions League in perhaps the most dramatic way. You have him. He is employed by you to lead your football club. And here we are in 18th place, hasn't won a game yet. And you're not going to put your full backing to it. Like, what kind of like reverse logic is it to have to basically like harvest a Premier League team like Newcastle for money, for sponsorships, for TV money and all that? If we just have them survive in the league, that's grand, on the lowest budget possible, rather than giving them full backing, make them a top 10 side, make them challenge for Europe even, because a player like a manager like Rafa can do that. He has done it before. So why not give him your full backing? I'm sure we keep repeating ourselves every podcast, but it'll get so much more frustrating seeing a manager of his wealth and experience and just ability to eke out results with such average players be wasted at such a fucking shambles of a club.
Yeah, well, he's managed to get John Joe Shelby playing to the point where people are actually genuinely wondering why he's not in the England team.
Right? That's the thing. That is 100% proof that Rafa Benitez is a fucking wizard to make something out of
exactly.
To make John Joe Shelby not only consistent but really goddamn good.
Yeah,
completely changed his play.
The thing about Ashley is that I think he's absolutely no interest in selling. I think the selling thing was just a lie engineered to keep all the disgruntled fans at bay a little while longer. He pockets 60, 70 million every single season they stay in the Premier League.
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah. So that means every single season he can buy himself a new fucking asset, you know?
Yeah, that's
Or he
what I was
increases
going to
his
say.
equity in, yeah, or he increases his equity in the companies that he already has his fat fingers in.
That's the
You
thing,
know?
yeah. And,
Why
and
sell why sell Newcastle that generates sell so much profit for him and that he runs on next to no investment?
that's the thing.
You
Like
know,
it
it's
is
a fucking
purely.
travesty what he's doing with that club.
Yeah, absolutely. It's purely business. Like there's no like kind of romanticism here. He has basically ran the numbers and said, what is going to make me more money? Is it going to be milking this club for with little to no investment, or throwing money, or like investing a lump sum into this club and then expecting higher rewards? Because let's face it, like a 10th place finish in the Premier League was a fucking achievement last year, and
Jesus.
that yields, I'm sure, I wouldn't know the numbers outright, but I imagine it's a good 10, 20 million more than like finishing in 17th or even in the relegation zone. You know, so
Yeah.
you have that much money, and that's from like little to no return. Now I don't think Mike Ashley is an idiot, because he clearly isn't. But what he is, he's just very, very cynical. So he's thinking, well, what's the point in, if I can expect a 10th place finish by having Rafa Benitez controlling my team, then I should be expecting 10th place all the time. That's now my bar is set at, you know. And it is frustrating for everyone outside of that Newcastle bubble to see this great manager working for this shit boss. You know, it's an absurd form of Stockholm syndrome.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. It's crazy. And just what he's doing to that team is just fucking. It's just shocking.
Yeah, it is. It is.
And it's really, really poor. I mean, just if you want to kind of a bit of a thought exercise for you. The last game they played was what, the 0-0 against Palace.
Yes, it was. Yeah.
Yeah, just imagine if Rafa Benitez had that Palace team.
Jesus.
Can you imagine the counter-attacking force they would be with that amount of speed and skill that they've got?
Yeah.
And with his tactical nous, they'd be that'd be a scary ass fucking team to play.
But that's the kind of like the most incredible what if you have, because I'm even looking at the table here. There's at least 5 or 6 teams I could see that Rafa Benitez would turn into absolute killers. I mean, Leicester is one that kind of pops into my mind all the time, but probably not much nowadays because Mahrez is gone. But a team like Wolves, for example, you know, they've got a great coach in their own right, but the actual like experience would win out there for Wolves as well. Like Brighton, Southampton, Fulham. God, there's so many teams there, and West Ham actually as well. Holy shit, that'd be a brilliant fucking pairing. But as I said, very much wasted at Newcastle. Like very much wasted. Like,
and why other clubs haven't turned around to him and gone, come work for us. You clearly know what the fuck you are doing.
That's the thing. Like, and would you imagine if I don't think any kind of team are close to sacking their manager yet, because, well, it's only 6 match days. But like I said, like the first name on any kind of club's list is going to be Rafa, because he must be so easy to get. Like, it could just literally just be a get me out of here severance package. You know what I mean? Because I don't know if he's being paid much at Newcastle. Because he might be like one of the biggest wage bills, really, and probably rightfully so.
I don't know, maybe, but yeah, fucking.
It is sad. It is sad when you look at it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, so like I said, we've to give full score then of who's fucked and who's not. Newcastle are semi-fucked. Huddersfield and Cardiff are definitely fucked. So that's your fucking forecast for the next few weeks. So moving on then, we will obviously
just a quick little update. Man United are down to 10 men now.
Oh, that's good. What happened?
Sergio Romero handled the ball outside the box, and yeah, he's been given his marching orders.
That's good. Well,
that means Lee Grant is now on the pitch for United.
The signing of the summer, lads. Oh my god.
Former Derby man.
Oh, fate has brought them together at last.
It's not without a sense of irony.
I've actually just seen here. He's it's 1-1 actually. Yeah, fucking Harry Wilson. Go on. Beautiful lad. The Liverpool loanee has just scored against United. He's just got himself a contract for life. All right.
He needs to be good few people buying on points.
Oh, very much so. I think Klopp be the first one. We're fucking driving down to Derby now with a big fucking keg of pisswasser. Right, so Champions League then. That was happening last week. And I suppose like a few kind of like unsurprising results. Like, you know, like United winning against Young Boys. The big kind of hitters, Barca, Rome, Barca, Real, Bayern, they all won. The English teams, though, I suppose, had more intriguing results. We kind of spoke a little bit about Inter beating Spurs. I don't know if we want to retread what we said there, but it was very much a case of just Inter, like, you know, fucking pushing Spurs out of the way 10 minutes to go. And look, there was kind of disappointing in Spurs, really. They just didn't really shut out the game. They kind of got intimidated, is probably the best word to say, really.
Mm-hmm.
So, in that...
They just got hustled as well. They just hustled, man.
Yeah,
you know?
hustled is a very good word to use there. And obviously we're talking a bit about the PSG game. I thought that was a fucking fantastic game in of its own right. Like, no matter what happens between Klopp and Tuchel, like they've had 2 games against each other, or 3 games actually, I should say. And I think that the aggregate score will be something crazy like I don't know, it would be 7-6 or something along those lines. Something crazy like. And it's always at Anfield as well. I think it was the 4-3 against Dortmund like a few years ago, and then this 3-2 result here. It's never a dull moment. We did play really well here, but god damn it, we nearly fucking lost it to sucker punches. You know, because PSG, well, really defined the game for me. And again, he's gonna come up a lot in this podcast, but James goddamn Milner. I think it was like 5 or 6 minutes into the game, Neymar on the ball, and Milner cleans him out with a fucking slide tackle. Just wipes out the fucker. And it was like, okay, that's exactly what we needed. That sets the tone. And he did that with Mbappe. He did that with the whole back line, the front line. I think just wiped them out with slide tackles. He was brilliant. But yeah, like
that's a key tactic when you're up against people who are quicker than you are. You know, you can just. And he can time his slide tackling quite well.
Yeah, exactly.
You know,
there was something quite gratifying in seeing like this tough, no-nonsense Yorkshireman sliding down this 200 million euros Qatari-owned Brazilian punts. You know what I mean? It's just, there's something really enjoyable about that. That's the magic of football, ladies and gentlemen. Because in what other sport would you be able to see that and get away with it? But I suppose the most newsworthy thing out of the English teams was Man City losing to Lyon.
Yes, very much so.
This was a very freak result, wasn't it?
No, well, yeah, it was freakish, but Lyon were actually really, really good. Despite the fact that the domestic form has been absolute fucking pants. Pep was in the stands after having been suspended by UEFA for fucking screaming at match officials. In a loss to Liverpool.
Yes, it did.
Actually, last season.
Very much an ironic punishment, really, isn't it?
Quite ironic. But like some of the football they played was fucking insipid. Like it was terrible.
Yeah.
I mean, like you'd even have players like Fernandinho, who I genuinely don't think, who up until that match, I didn't really think was capable of having like a poor game. You know, but like the first goal was City decided to switch into attack mode as they always did, shifted up into a gear, swarmed forward, but Fernandinho then lost the ball at the halfway line.
Yeah.
Then Fekir was the man who just nipped in, ran into the space where Walker should have been, and then crossed it from the left. But even then, like Delph could have just every chance to clear. All he had to do was fucking just get ahead, even get in the way of it, just do fucking something. But instead, he completely air kicked it like a fucking boss.
It's the one thing he's good at.
Air kicked it, which fans of, funny enough, his air kick gave him the prime angle to watch Cornet just slot the ball in.
That's the
Great finish now, by the way. He put it bottom right, so Ederson had absolutely no fucking chance.
Yeah.
But yeah, like they just lost duels, like one-on-ones all over the fucking Kip, you know.
Oh dear.
And again, the second goal was even from Fernandinho losing the ball on halfway. But he's less, not as not as culpable.
Yeah.
Because Fekir just ran straight through the fucking whole centre of the pitch with the ball and just held Stones at arm's length like a fucking child. And just the ball in.
It was such a freak result because the Lyon side have just been reaped the last 2 years, and in a way they're kind of lucky to have Fekir with them, you know. So it is such an achievement seeing him, because I don't even know who their like new number 9 is, to be honest with you. I thought it was like what is it, Dembele? Oh, yeah. It is Dembele. Yeah, you're right. Shit, I forgot about that.
He wasn't on the pitch now. He
was
on the bench.
Oh well, then, but sure, he'll still be starting at some stage. Fucking hell, I kind of forgot about that completely. But no, I remember like they had like this Real Madrid hot shot, and then Real Madrid realised that they had sold him, I think, and went, oh shit, no, let's have him back, and then fucking bottom off Leon again. So I was trying to remember who their fucking number 9 was, but however. So in terms of that game, then, is this a blip, or was this like, obviously like City have obviously bounced back, like beating Cardiff 5-0, but was it just like, was it the wrong attitude, or was it just things not clicking? Was it because Pep and his magic sponge wasn't on the pitch? You know, that's what I'm trying to find out.
I think it was a bit of complacency.
Yeah,
you know, it definitely did. But it's just the way that they played so insipidly and so badly. You know, it's pretty good. I don't think Leon just went for it. You know, I mean, we've even said it in the league before. The best way of taking out this City team, you know, and this in particular this Liverpool team that seems to be killing everybody, is not to shy away, not to hide back, but to actually go for them.
Yeah, that's exactly. Especially with City, you just have to bully them, essentially.
And that's pretty much it, you know. And fuck me, bully is what Fekir did.
Yeah.
Fekir pretty much gave a masterclass as to why people have been fucking queuing up to sign the bastard. In particular, the second goal where he just held off Stones.
Yeah.
Like he would, it wasn't anything, and then just whacked the ball home. It's brilliant. So it was a case of them being complacent. Probably looked at Leon's absolutely abysmal fucking home record, and then just went, oh shit, you know, before they realised that they were 2-0 down. 2-0 down at half time, and I'd say probably a bit of a hairdryer treatment. They played better in the second half, but couldn't rescue it. Although Aguero very nearly did, only for a great fucking fingertip save by Lopez.
Oh, right. Well, like I said, it was kind of funny as well, because I remember looking at their group and thinking they'll walk that, because the teams they have are very clearly not the same standard, but they're all kind of blue chipper teams, if that makes sense. Like the teams that they're hipster teams in a way. Like the hipsters will love teams like Leon because they have players like Fekir, and everyone likes Hoffenheim because they're you know, managed by a fetus. You know, there's things to like about those teams, and obviously Shakhtar has like some sort of red hot generic Brazilian playmaker that's in the shop window. So, like I said, they're in that kind of their group table that like they should walk it, but they're clearly gonna make hard work of it now after losing their first game.
Yep.
So,
and I say with Paris Saint-Germain as well.
Yeah, this is the baffling thing, like, because, well, to be fair, if Napoli had beaten Red Star, I would say they were in trouble, because it was a draw, and like a 0-0 draw at that. You know, maybe PSG would kind of get away with it, but it depends on how like Red Star is like with PSG and us. You know, if they are a kind of team that just park the bus, don't play, or foul like fuck, then those types of teams could bother big teams, because big teams don't want to come home with fucking glass shards in their ankles. You know, they're not very partial to fireworks either. You know, that's the thing. So, like I said, it's a sort of thing where like PSG could get sucker punched, but it will be down to the games against Napoli, really. I think. I don't know.
I think the irony to it is that the PSG is similar to what we said about City, is that their domination of their domestic kind of league prevents them from being competitive in Europe.
That's definitely true PSG. You can definitely see that against us because the physicality was nowhere near the same. You know, again, I drew reference to Milner wiping out Neymar, but that's an example. That was like in a vacuum. That's what that match was. It was literally just like these very dainty, precocious, talented players who are so able to pass around like lesser teams. But when we go up against a team that's high intensity, high physicality, they have no response. Granted, they still scored 2 goals against us because, god damn it, look at the team they fucking have. You know what I mean? When you have players like Mbappe who are so goddamn good anyway. But being outmuscled is another story.
Yeah, but the thing is that like their 2 goals stemmed from them just simply punishing Liverpool mistakes.
Yeah, that's true.
Meunier hooking the ball in. I think Meunier was the one who scored their first goal.
Yes, he was. Yeah.
I mean, he hooked the ball in, a loose ball in the box when he was totally unmarked at the far post. It's like had literally anybody been on him, he wouldn't have gotten that.
Yeah.
I mean, let's say they hadn't had a shot up until that point.
No, they didn't. They were nowhere near the game at all. It was a free goal in comparison.
And they'd only managed 8 passes. I'm looking at the stats. They'd only managed 8 passes in the Liverpool third.
That's nuts. That's fucking nuts.
So, and that's just it. And again, their second goal was a lax pass from Salah. You know, he lax pass. It got picked up on. The ball went to Neymar.
Yeah.
Neymar laid in Mbappe, and then that's it. You know, I mean, yeah, we're gonna pretty much rip them for being self-indulgent wankers, but you know, if you give them a chance, they're gonna fucking take it.
Oh yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. You know, like, again, there's enough class in that front three to for them to score goals. But it's with everything else. There's no the industry from them was different. You know, it's not the same level. The same way.
There's no industry from that front three. That's the point.
Yeah.
I don't. You know, I mean, like if you can't even be bothered tracking Trent Alexander-Arnold.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
I really do feel for Tuchel, and I kind of see like this is what Emery. I think he's kind of sitting there going, "Oh, this is what fucking Unai had to put up with." You know, it's like you can't do anything with that kind of a player. You know.
Yeah, but at the same token, though, it's because like the league is such a low standard anyway. You know what I mean? Like it's what else can you do but improve the league? You know what I mean? Like you can only be king of your own castle, but when you go somewhere else, like you do see the difference. You know what I mean?
Exactly. I mean, and the thing is that Tuchel in particular cannot be happy by how they're playing. I mean, he grew up in the fucking hard pressing Bundesliga fucking mode. You know, that pure new Klopp. You know, fucking Geigen pressing motherfucker. Yeah, you know
exactly. No, he was in that framework, so that's the way his teams are meant to play. Although
there's no version of that in this Paris Saint-Germain team. When you've got 3 men, your front 3 are standing 50 yards upfield from their fucking midfield, not even jogging as a defender surges past them time and time again.
Yeah. And you expect your.
I read a very good article that stated that PSG football, not only is it not Tuchel football, it might not even be just football.
maybe. Like I said, maybe it's because like again we're talking about the league standard and all that. But like I said, when you do have those 3, they'll get you through anything really without any massive qualms or what's the word I'm thinking of? Qualms or any kind of like stress. But like I said, when you do come up against actual quality, actual good teams, that's when you see the difference. And as you said yourself, they don't kind of rise to the occasion, if that's the right way of putting it.
Well, that's it. I'm like, all you've got is 3 forwards who just sit in the halfway line waiting for the odd pass forward. They don't track back. They don't come deep. They don't I don't think any of them put any Liverpool defender under any pressure.
Not really, no. And as I said, that's accounting for 2 bombing fullbacks as well, like Robertson and Alexander-Arnold. No stress in them whatsoever, So yeah, you're right.
That's my point. Yeah. Don't get me wrong. Like I think both Robertson and Alexander-Arnold are fantastic players. I got all the time of the day for them.
Yeah.
But like Mbappe and Neymar at least should be looking to take them out of the game. Like they're not better than those guys,
That's exactly my point. Like you even say on paper, if we're going FIFA stats here, it's a clear there's a mismatch. There's a mismatch, obviously. But that's
like
not how
you look
football
at
works.
it in reality, and you're just going, "What the fuck? They're not doing anything." Like, you know.
Yeah.
Essentially, what PSG have become now is kind of like a French Celtic.
Oh, that's a really good way of putting it. That's a very good way of putting it, because Celtic have had that problem for decades, even. I even remember when the SPL was all like, the lads like Larson and all those kind of like. Well, I suppose like I'd argue like that's the best Celtic team. Maybe it's the one I remember. When you have players like Nakamura, Larson, McNamara, all these fucking great players, they went nowhere in Champions League. I mean, I could be wrong, but I don't remember them going anywhere near like European football.
Not really tolerable, but that's my point. Like, it's just the success domestically stopped them European.
Yeah.
Stopped them internationally. I mean, and also as well, I think actually Tuchel himself is actually kind of regressing as a manager as well, because I mean, we mentioned it before, Alexander Arnold. I mean, fucking the amount of space that guy was given.
Yeah.
Why did nobody make any attempt to stop any of the passes going to him? He was Liverpool's outlet virtually the entire game.
Yeah, and he was a fucking good outlet too.
Well, no, he was brilliant, but
Yeah.
he was giving you, like, you give a player that much space, he's going to play well. He can't not play well.
Well, I suppose in the Tuchel argument, like, his first job was the Dortmund position taken after Klopp, and I think that's a very hard position to fill, because Klopp is like part of that kind of mythos of Dortmund now. He was there. He became like, him and Dortmund are like intertwined the same way he is with us and with Mainz. No, that's just the way Klopp is. He merges into the club DNA. And I think with Tuchel, it's kind of like, I think I use a kind of the term with you guys and Emery. It's new dad syndrome. So he's either going to work or he's not. I think Emery's starting to get there a little bit, but there's still like the kind of like qualms of just like, just fucking defend, or just like, don't be stupid, that sort of thing. There's the teething problems as such. With Dortmund though, I remember that the offensive players loved playing for Tuchel more, because I think Tuchel had less demand on them, but whenever they were like attacking, they attacked in massive numbers. And I remember when we played them actually the first time around, and we had the ball in their box and it was cleared, and I think it was like either somewhere in their midfield, or just like, it was like defender, midfielder, and up to Aubameyang. But even when Aubameyang had it, he had 5 options around him, and I thought, fuck, that's nuts, because it was like they were like ninjas in a way, like bright yellow ninjas, where you were following the ball, and then you realise when you look away from the fella in possession, you see, oh, he has 5 of his mates around him, and our players are just going, where the fuck did they all come from? So I think Tuchel is probably the same way. Like, it's just like not actual massive stress on the forwards like Klopp is. Klopp demands the backtracking and passing and all this stuff, whereas I think Tuchel forwards just score goals and let the people behind him do the industry. But I mean, who does the industry in the PSG team? Rabiot? I don't know. I don't see it.
Verratti?
No.
I didn't play against you guys, but
they don't have one. That's the thing. Maybe that's why they wanted to get a Kante in the team. Would that be the difference, or would a player like him be wasted in a domestic league so weak?
Oh, wasted, totally.
Yeah.
I mean, in particular as well, like the Paris Saint-Germain, their keeper is shit as well.
Yeah. He wasn't great now, in fairness. No.
I'm like, it's I really feel for Thiago Silva, like,
yeah.
In that team. It's like he's just surrounded by complete fucking mediocrity. Maybe Kimpembe aside, he's fucking good.
Yeah, he's not bad actually, Kimpembe. Yeah.
Yeah, he's definitely, with a better manager maybe, or with a better setup, he could really blossom into something very fucking good. But yeah, no, I mean, like, Kante would have been fucking wasted.
I wasn't a fan of Marquinhos in central midfield. I didn't see the logic in that at all. Like, I always remember Marquinhos as a fullback, and he's there kind of playing that number 6, and obviously to let Rabiot actually be a central midfielder, but just didn't fucking work. He was at odds and ends all the time. Like, whenever he was like trying to get the ball back, he was at least like surrounded by 3 Liverpool midfielders all the time. Like, he couldn't find space, didn't make space. Yeah, they were kind of like, in a way to say it, they were kind of rookie mistakes, like formation wise, but they were just like beaten man for man as well. There's a kind of best way of putting it.
Marquinhos was totally out of place at DM. I don't know what the fuck he's doing there.
Yeah, it's
also why he let Pastore go as well. I mean, if they got rid of Pastore, I was like, what?
Yeah.
You know.
That's what I noticed actually about the PSG bench. I know we're talking a lot about them today, but I noticed about the bench. There's absolutely sod all in that team.
There's fucking nothing.
There was only Draxler on the bench, and I was thinking, fuck, these are the champions of France, like drowning in oil. PSG, they spent all their money on 2 players, and that was like 400 million euros, and they all have young players on the bench because obviously Tuchel likes his young players, likes to bring them in. I get that, but Jesus Christ, lads, you had a better team without fucking Mbappe. You know what I mean? What is squad depth?
Yeah, there's not real squad depth, and they don't even have a proper first 11 even.
No, not really.
To be perfectly honest with you. No, that said, like they're only 1 or 2 players away from having a truly sick teim. Like if they got like Milinkovic, Savic,
they need a proper midfield, really. I think Milinkovic would be a good shout. Like just somebody that is pure like box to box physicality.
Yeah, him to do that proper fucking box to box, you know.
Yeah, exactly.
Pogba.
Yeah, it wouldn't be a bad shout actually. Would not be a bad shout at all. I mean, he'd still be kind of like more the same PSG standard, but it'd be at least a league that he would actually dominate in the same way like he kind of dominated the Italian league. You know.
Yeah, don't they still have fucking Kurzawa, don't they?
They do. I think he's injured. I think he wrecked his ACL or something.
Jesus.
Yeah. Anyway, so we're coming to the end of this podcast, primarily because I want to celebrate because Derby has just scored against Manchester United, so I don't want to keep this going on too long as they reach injury time. Thank you, Jack Marriott.
Leicester beating Wolves 3-1 on penalties.
Well, thank Christ there's no extra time. I mean, that's just great. It's already the best competition ever. United getting knocked out and there's no extra time. Brilliant. It's a full day's work. So we will end this podcast with a burnt. Oh, fuck off. Fellaini just scored.
Oh, no. Fellaini. Fellaini. Fuck off.
Seriously, this is ridiculous.
Take that mop hair fucking back and shoot me.
You can see how things can derail the podcast so fast.
The minute, you fucking jammy fucking fuck.
Oh, you.
Fuck.
No.
Oh, man.
So, anyway. Fellaini's not going to be the answer to this burning question anyway, but we will end it on a burning question, Neil. And I've given you the time of the podcast to dwell on it, see what you think of it. Who do you think is the best player in the Premier League so far?
Right now, De Gea.
Interesting. I did not think about De Gea.
Seriously, like he's just been keeping United in it.
Yeah,
and
but
probably. I'm like, no, don't get me wrong. That you could pretty much just repeat that ad nauseum for the last 3 fucking seasons.
Yeah, that's fair.
I'm serious. I don't know what they're doing. I don't know what they're doing to keep him at United. I really don't.
Yeah.
Like, why isn't he left yet? They're not going anywhere. They're not winning dick for the next couple of seasons. I mean, like anybody can see that. What the fuck? Like Jose must be given like dynamite hand jobs.
Oh.
I'm talking proper knee tremblers because I don't understand what the fuck he's doing. They're not even paying him that much cash. I mean, they're definitely not paying him more than they're paying Alexis, who is shit.
Yeah, dreadful. Dreadful.
Oh, if you want the opposite of best player in the fucking league right now, total polar opposite. Why? I'm like, and it's even funny because now the press and even the United fans are turning on Sanchez.
Well, that's it. But he hasn't done anything.
He's fucking shit, and he's getting like what 480 grand a week.
Could not believe that when I read it. He's getting $500,000 a week to do fucking nothing.
He is done bollocks.
Yeah.
Anyway,
so
like De Gea has pretty much just been their shining light as per fucking usual.
Yeah.
And as a goalkeeper, I can't not respect how fucking good he is. He's just so fucking good. But yeah, that's it.
Okay.
He's my player of the season. 6 weeks in.
That to be fair, that's not a bad show. It really isn't. And to be fair, it's not a name I had on my suddenly made shortlist. So
I'm happy to surprise you.
Yeah, thank you very much. So I suppose there's a few names that kind of are worthy of mentioning in a way. I've mentioned him tons of times already, but Milner has been our best player this season so far. Just purely
Milner's been fantastic.
Purely been mileage.
Fantastic.
Yeah. like I said, when you're averaging like a half marathon every game, that's insane. It's absolutely insane how he keeps that up.
What he reminds me of, right? He reminds me of in that workman rate, always the first name on the fucking team sheet, and pure, totally being an underrated prick. Is he kind of seems like he's. I know they play different positions.
Yeah,
but he kind of seems like Liverpool's Dennis Irwin.
in a way, yes, because you do. I think for teams like that, you do need a Irwin type. You need someone who you know what you're going to get. He's a known quantity. He's going to put the shift in, and he's no drama in a way.
No frills, no drama. Just gets in there, does a fucking great job, and then gets the fuck out of there. Like for years upon years, Irwin was always the first name on Ferguson's team sheet.
Yeah.
He fucking loved Irwin. He absolutely adored him. And I only thought of Irwin now because I watched the testimonial match that he played in.
Oh yeah, the Lee Miller one, yeah.
Yeah, he was part of that. But like, you know, he kind of reminds me of that for Liverpool, and that, you know, he's no real frills. He gets it, does the fucking job, you know, and just leaves, you know.
And it's funny in this kind of like I suppose this kind of era.
You know, he's the first name of the fucking team.
Oh yeah.
And Klopp comes to fucking writing that shit now.
Well, Klopp will tell you that Firmino's the number one name on the team sheet, but it really is Milner. Let's be fair.
It has to be, and if it's not, it fucking should be.
Yeah, no, you're right too. I mean, yeah, even like I said, it wasn't a case against Southampton because he was getting rested, but he was still on for 45 minutes, so that's a rest to him, I guess.
Yeah.
Anyway, so yeah, no, Milner is definitely a shout for me. I mean, like I said, he doesn't show it in goals and assists. He kind of did last season as well, because he just lumps stuff up, but the actual just keeping the team going, keeping it moving, managing the game as well, because we've had games where. Look, I draw mention to like the likes of Brighton and Leicester, where we were more defensive. We were kind of like sitting in and not like, you know, we weren't 100% attacking, and Milner was still putting in the same work rate, either breaking up play or creating passes or just running interference. Like regardless of the situation, it's still the same like $1 million fucking Milner. You know, it's still that marathon that he runs. It's insane how he does it. Now, a few of the names I was going to throw out, like this one's a bit of a joke, but Richarlison, whenever he is on the pitch, he does something, which is a start.
Basically, just Everton's fucking Zaha.
Yeah,
you know?
He is exactly that.
When he plays, they win. When he doesn't, they really, really don't.
Yeah, that's a great way of putting it. Three of the names I will mention is this one's kind of flown on the radar a little bit until I looked at the stats for him. Is Jose Holebas. He, I believe, is leading the assists, or he's very much close to it. I think 4 assists this season so far. Just constantly bombs forward. Very offensive minded. Takes all the set pieces. I just watched the first derby goal against Manchester United. Holy fuck! Yeah. I've heard it's really good. I'm sitting on my hands waiting for this podcast to end so I can see the free kick.
Sorry, I've got Twitter open in another tab.
I heard it's pretty damn good. Oh yeah, I can. I'm just about to see it now. Actually, thank you, Burkbot. Oh, that's fucking brilliant. Take a fucking bow, son. Oh, that's brilliant. Right, back on track. So, I've narrowed it down to 3 names. So, Richarlison and Holebas, they're good honourable mentions, but the 3 I've mentioned, I've got to put down for my candidates are Milner, Eden Hazard, because he has actually been he's actually been quite sharp since he came back from the World Cup, and Alexander Mitrovic.
Mitrovic.
Yes.
I wouldn't go there. He's definitely the player of the season for Fulham. You know?
That's true.
He's definitely been their player of the season. But overall, I probably wouldn't stretch it. Not this far, anyway.
Okay, that's fair.
You see him being pivotal to their staying up. But yeah, no, I definitely go with Milner. I'm sticking with De Gea, but like Milner would definitely be run him a close second, because he's just basically been instrumental to that Liverpool team just fucking killing everything in sight. Yeah,
that's pretty much it. Like, and he's sort of the player as well that you would goddamn miss him if he was in.
By the way, do you want to live do this Manchester United derby penalty thing?
Alright, fuck it.
We're about to start, right? Derby's first up. It's Mason Mount.
Right, here we go.
Whoop.
Where?
Just waiting for the fucking refresh. Fuck it.
Well, I can tell you he scored it. So spoilers here. I've got the live blog up here. So.
Oh, you got the live one, you fucking prick.
Okay, Lukaku is equalised. So it looks like I'm doing a live here, right? So you can, you'll be a minute behind and tell me how it goes, right?
Alright, go for it.
Okay, so it's 1-1 so far. This is thrilling, folks, for you guys because this is a day late. So this is going to be completely lost on you. But come on, follow us on this journey. This is new. It's exciting for us. You're getting live reactions. This is all about the YouTube. This is what everyone does online now. It all reacts. You can get sued by saying that word, right? I'm still waiting for the live blog to update here, folks. It's tense. I can tell it's tense.
I am absolutely mashing the F5 key on my fucking keyboard.
Okay, Derby have scored it. Okay, so Mason Mount scored the first one. Chelsea youngster.
That's that
Lukaku.
name. Josefson.
Yeah. Josefson, yeah. Yeah, he's Dutch.
Oh, yeah, I'd have lost that then.
Okay, just call him Jeff, alright? So, Josefson makes it 2-1, right? So, it's in advantage Derby. Derby are obviously up first, and it's not the ABBA system, I don't think.
He's got 2 Z's in his name. How the fuck?
He's Dutch, I told you.
Young scored. Young came up for United. Young scored it.
So 2-2, right? This is again pulse pounding action, folks. All right, just stay with us. We will end the podcast on this. We will not leave you. It's like fucking a paranormal investigation. We're not going to leave you until we see a ghost, lads. All right. When we see a winner in this game, we will clock off the podcast. That's it. Not beforehand. Here we go.
I'm not leaving on all those 2 Z's. That's fucking weird.
You get away from the 2Z man, alright? Jesus Christ. Oh yes, Harry Wilson scores it. So 3-2. Nice. Right, here we go. There. All pressure on United. Come on, here we go.
Who's stepping up?
I don't know. The blog isn't fast enough to tell me that. I will just know whoever has scored it and whoever has missed or not.
And whoever the fuck is doing the typing at the Sky Sports, he really needs to fucking... He needs to get a typing tutor, man, because he's not doing well.
he's struggling. Oh, Fellaini. God damn it.
Balls.
Seriously, fuck off, man. If Fellaini won this penalty shootout, I think we were justified in cancelling football.
Oh yeah, I just give up on the whole thing. I'd take up crocheting or some shit like that. I don't know.
I wouldn't mind doing a podcast about crocheting, actually. Because you tell me,
Cross is caused by Manchester United potentially winning a Carabao Cup 3rd round causes us to consider other fucking. Oh, Marriott scored.
Yes. All right, here we go. Back to action now. We'll talk about crocheting if United scores again.
Crocheting for wimps.
That's the name of the podcast. Crocheting for Wimps, coming up next week on Money Madness.
Fucking wimps. Fuck that shit.
Okay, here we go. Come on. Just miss one penalty. That's all I ask. Just do it for the Hubers. Do it for football. We need this. We need more Mourinho misery.
We need Manchester United to lose.
Yes, absolutely. Everyone needs this. Fred, fuck off.
Fuck.
53 million well spent. He scores a penalty against Derby.
Oh man,
this is tense. It's tense not actually. It's tense not being able to watch the match. When you just you're being told what's happening. All right, we're all waiting on this penalty. Who do you think is going to take the penalty, Neil? What's your knowledge like on the Derby County team?
All I know is Lampard runs it.
Well,
maybe he'll come on, take one.
Oh, fucking hope so. It'd be great crack. Yes, all right. Those Derby have scored it. I think with Bradley Johnson. Yeah, Bradley Johnson scored it. So this has to go in for United. No pressure, lads. Come on, just fuck it up. It's gonna be great.
Butler.
You saying that all the way over here is really gonna help that.
It's Lingard probably. I'd say Lingard or fucking is Marshall still on the fucking bench?
I don't.
Still on the pitch.
I actually have no idea.
Because I know he started.
You might be right. Oh, Matt Harrell did score it, so it's gone to sudden death. Like I said, lads, we are not leaving you until there is a winner in this game.
Oh my god! I only meant this as a fucking cute little aside.
No, Neil.
Realising it's 5.
No, Neil. We derailed our conversation about why James Milner is the best footballer ever for this penalty shootout. And okay, Bryson has scored it. So this has gone to sudden death, lads. Derby are in control. This is all back down to United.
6-5, is it?
Yeah. So it must be Lingard next, I'd say. If he's playing.
Fucking De Gea will be taking one by the time this goddamn thing finishes.
Yeah. So,
oh no, shit. They'll have to they'll have to fly him over.
yeah, shit. It's going to be Lee Grant who's going to do it. He's going to be the hero.
It'll be Lee Grant. I forgot he wasn't fucking playing. I forgot fucking Sergio Roberto got sent off.
Ah, Dalot scored it.
Fuck.
So, back to Derby.
Oh my god.
Oh my god, this is brilliant. This is premium content, lads. You like most viewers have probably switched off at this stage because they probably know the result by now. But fuck it. This is semi-live reactions here. We're copyrighting this. We're getting like second-hand news here. Okay. You can hear Neil just F5ing every 30 seconds. Forsyth, yes, scores it. Back of the net.
Fucking bollocks, goddamn Virgin Media bollocks. Fucking bollocks internet connection. Suck a dick.
You see, you're not living in the year 3000 where you're using your mobile data for this.
Yeah, fuck that shit.
No.
Is there even... How 6 foot, isn't it?
Yeah, 7-6.
Fucking hell, are there even goalkeepers?
Yeah,
The goalkeepers actually forgot to get in the goal that they just lined up with the other players.
Apparently been really good penalties. Matic makes it 7-7.
Ah, for fuck's sake.
This is tense stuff, lads. We're gonna really regret this when it goes to like when it starts rolling back round to like the original scores, isn't it? When it gets to like 11-11.
Fuck it is, yeah. They're gonna have to reset the scoreboard.
Yeah.
Like that.
Probably everyone at the stadium has gone at this stage to catch the last train.
Yeah, pretty much, yeah.
Look, lads, we'll check the Twitter. Yes, Richard Keogh scores it.
8-7.
Okay, this is it, lads. Now Richard Keogh was a big psychological edge, right? There's no way you could beat Richard Keogh. There's no way. We all dream of a team of Richard Keoghs. That's how that worked. It always was the rhyme. Come on, we got this. Who is left in the United team to score penalties? Come on, it has to be Chris Smalling. Someone to fuck up. Come on.
Brilliantly, the Sky Sports blogger has accidentally typed Keogh nuts rather than Keogh nets.
Phil Jones missed it!
Yeah!
Derby has won! Yes! And it had to be Phil Jones. It had to be him.
Fuck it up.
Yes! Oh.
Fuck you, Jones.
Oh, brilliant. Well, if that doesn't get Phil Jones transfer listed, nothing will. You heard it here first, folks. In case you missed it.
Unless you watched the match in this game. No, you didn't.
You heard it here first, folks.
I still maintain 16 penalties between Manchester United and Derby County was the best way to end this podcast.
I absolutely agree. I think we should do that more often. just suddenly derail it, George, for second-hand news. You could have watched this live, folks. You could have watched it live, but you didn't. You guys decided to be here with us to listen to us tell you what happened last night.
Live vicariously through us.
And you know what? We appreciate that. We absolutely do. So thank you for joining us for this for extra time here for this penalty shootout. Thankfully, the right team won, which is always the best thing to have. And oh yeah, shit, it was Lampard beating Mourinho. Holy shit! Oh, that's
definitely one of the signs.
That's a passing of the torch. That is, isn't it?
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, passing the torch through his front fucking window into his living room.
As is tradition with Mourinho losing.
Indeed.
Yeah, he does. Well, lads, I hope you've enjoyed this edition. We certainly did, because it ended up being a fucking shambles. But fuck it, that's what most of our project productions go anyway. So we will see you in 2 weeks' time, where hopefully there won't be a penalty shootout for us to commentate. Although, to be fair, we might actually just do that from now on. It seems to have added something to the conversation.
Yeah, it did. Yeah,
Yeah, I did. Yeah, no. That long pregnant pause really told me that they'd add a lot to the conversation. So we'll be back in 2 weeks with more stuff to talk about. So until then, I have been Jonathan, and that has been Neil. You've and that was also Manchester United, Derby County, Richard Keogh, Phil Jones, and the extended cast of those two teams. We will see you next time on the Football Podcast. Until then, see you later.
See ya.